It's an unmistakably Chinese scene. From the workers to the offices. Beijing is pouring money into this copper mine, hoping it's a golden gateway to further economic expansion. But this is not China. It's Serbia, on the edge of the EU, where the red of the Communist Party is leaving its mark.
The Chinese company treats us terribly.
We tracked down this Vietnamese man who said he'd paid the equivalent of £1,200 to come here for a construction job.
They forced us to work more, but they did not provide enough supplies. There are 20 or 30 workers living together in each container. They treat us like slaves.
After half a year, the father of three tried to leave, but was stranded. Shortly after we met, he did manage to return home, only after taking out a £1,500 loan. This is the Linglong tyre factory where he worked. Employment contracts we've seen appear to be copied and pasted from the Middle East. If you're caught stealing, your hand is chopped off. If you were to murder someone, you're beheaded.
This is the most visible case of labor exploitation we had in the country so far.
Human rights groups say it's a warning as Chinese business expands further into Europe.
If you're actually having Chinese companies coming to other countries and not having institutions who are strong enough to prevent human rights violations or labor standards violations or any other violations, you will have probably the race to the bottom with other companies.
From Serbia to Greece, inside the EU, and one of its fastest growing economies. Most of the booming port of Piraeus near Athens is now owned by Costco, a Chinese state company. It first invested here when no other country would. When you get this close, you can see just how huge these container ships are. And day in, day out, they're bringing tons of goods, which will then be dispatched to all corners of Europe. And this is a crucial gateway to the continent for China. But the expansion of this port is controversial. Dockers have been on strike over safety concerns. Watch the containers on the right. A narrow escape. But last year, a worker did die in a separate crane accident. The Greek government told us it's not planning to take any further big investments from Beijing. Venture north through the Balkans, and this is Montenegro, supposedly on the path to EU membership. But it's China lending the cash for this, the country's first motorway. However, in 6 years, only 25 miles have been built. The cost? €1 billion, which must be paid back to Beijing.
We need investments. If the China is the only one interested in investing in you, yeah, I say go for it, but just be careful about the terms of these investments, conditions of these investments, and making sure that everything is in line with your general policy.
None of the Chinese companies responded to the allegations made against them, and 5 Chinese ambassadors in Europe we asked for an interview were not available. China has declared a new global order with its ally Russia and has failed to condemn the invasion of Ukraine. More than ever, European nations are reassessing the risk and reward of doing business with Beijing. Nick Beake, BBC News, Montenegro.